Hey folks, welcome to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey, right here on the Dice Tower. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be taking a look at this right here. It's called the Great Commission Strategic Card Game. So basically, you're going to be in control of a church in the early church age, trying to survive all of the different troubles and struggles that are affecting your church, and it's all done through card play. So let's get down to the table and take a look. Now, the Great Commission is a 1 to 4 player card game. So basically you can play just one player, and that's what I have this set up for. The mechanisms, most of them are going to be the same no matter if you're playing with one player or with 4 players. There are a couple of extra things that you can do in multiplayer games, and we'll touch on those. But generally speaking, what we're going to do here is just show you the basic elements of the game, the basic mechanisms of the game, so that you can understand basically how it works. So the game is going to be set up where each player is going to set up their church, and their church is going to be basically starting with 6 members and a leader. You're also going to start with one activity card, which is basically kind of like a special card that's generally going to be helping your church survive some of the different troubles and helping them do other things. You're also going to choose a location to start with, and it's important to note that the locations start with a standard side and they also start with a challenging side. You're going to go ahead and shuffle the trouble deck as well, and then you're going to put one trouble face down in front of your church to start the game with, and then you're going to make the world deck. The world deck is going to be comprised of 4 activity cards and 12 people per player. So in one player game, there are 12 people and 4 activities in this deck. You shuffle them up, and basically this represents the people you are trying to win, the lost people you are trying to win to get them to join your church. And that, by way of mentioning, is how you win the game. You want to get all of the cards in this deck won before the event deck runs out. In a multiplayer game, if any one church loses all of their health, goes all the way down to 0, before that win factor happens, everybody loses. So it is a cooperative game in that sense, and in a couple of other senses, but we'll get to those in just a moment. Each round is split up into 3 different phases. There's the event phase, where you simply flip over a card from the event deck and you carry out whatever it does. So for example, this one says leaders imprisoned. So this is a persecution event, and it says you cannot use your leader this round. So James the Just is basically not going to be able to be used in this first round. So now that we are done with that, we are able to do some other things throughout the course of the game. So you also are able to, if you did use your leader in a previous round, you're able to allow him to recover. And we'll talk about that more later. You're also going to be able to appoint one of the leaders, one of the people of your church to be your leader if something happened to him in the previous round. Then you're also going to be able to look at how much health your church has and recover that much of your members. And then you're going to be able to add any incoming members to your church, and then you'll be able to go into the actions phase. Now, the actions phase is where most of the things you're going to be doing with your cards is going to take place. And I kind of reserved talking about a lot of the different things the cards can do until we get here. Now, you'll notice that each of these different cards have a little gray symbol here, and basically that is a special talent that person can do. Those are all free actions that don't cost one of your church action spots. Some members will do things like allow you to gain specific kinds of actions, more of a specific kind of action, or they will allow you to gain more actions in general. There are also ones that will give you certain things while they are taking part in a certain kind of action. So just understand that your talents that your people have, your church members have, are things that you can always do as long as they are available and they don't cost one of your church actions to do so. Now, in the actions phase, you're going to be able to do 2 actions, and they can be 6 different choices. And you can do the same action twice if you want to. The first one is called the outreach. action. And the outreach action is where you're going to be trying to win cards out of your world deck. And it primarily uses the faith ability of your characters. Now, when you do an outreach action, you can commission up to 3 of your church members to go on an outreach mission to the deck. Now, basically what you're doing here is you're looking at their faith and you're going to be putting those people together. So if I wanted to, I could choose the noble, the leper. Let's go ahead and use the philosopher as well. Now, the philosopher is important because he's going to allow us to gain 1 health on an outreach mission if he's a member of it. So that's going to be 10 faith altogether that they're going to be able to go on this outreach mission for. Now, when you go on an outreach mission, you're going to pick a number from 1 to 5, and that's how many cards you're going to draw out of the world deck. And then you're going to compare the resistance total of the cards that you draw out of this deck to the faith total of the people that you sent on the outreach mission. So let's say that we chose to draw 3 cards. So we drew 3 cards out of the world deck, so we went on a mission. Now, one of them was an activity card, and it doesn't have any resistance, so that's good. The resistance of this boy and this Nazarite are 2 plus 2, so the resistance is 4. Compared to our 10, we were at least equal or greater than the resistance of these characters. So this is a successful outreach mission. And whenever you have a successful outreach mission, the people go over here to the incoming slot and the activity card becomes immediately available for you to use. Whenever you have new members coming into your church, you're going to have to draw trouble cards equal to how much resistance they had divided by 6. So basically, for every 6 resistance from the new members that you bring in, you have to draw 1 trouble card. There's only 4 here, so there's not enough trouble in these 2 members to have to draw another card because we didn't reach 6. And because the philosopher here was on our outreach mission, we get to gain 1 health for our church. And then all 3 of these are going to be commissioned and they're no longer able to be used in this particular round. Now, a second kind of action that you can do is called a discernment, and that is primarily used by the wisdom statistic or characteristic of your players. And just like the outreach action, you can use up to 3 of your members to go on a discernment mission. And when you do that, you're basically going to be trying to flip over these trouble cards. For every 2 wisdom that you send on that discernment mission, you'll be able to flip over one of your trouble cards. Now, you could also do an intercession, and an intercession is where you're going to, again, look at either the wisdom or the faith, depending on the kind of trouble that's up here that you're trying to intercede, and you're going to be able to send up to 3 characters to intercede for that sin. So if I wanted to, and I had the actions available to me, I could send this Pharisee and this military officer to intercede for this member of your church that is being lazy, basically. And since we sent 4, 3, so that's 7, and it is equal to or greater than the kind of sin that's up here, then we would be able to remove that from our church, and we no longer have that as a trouble that is impeding the growth of our church. Now, we also could do what's called a prayer action. And again, you can send up to 3 members to do a prayer action. And what you're basically trying to do on prayer actions is that you're going to be able to draw blessings and or get more health for your church. So the first member that you send will get you +1 health for your church. And then every member after them will either get you +1 health, or it will allow you to draw a blessing card. Blessing cards are useful in that they are always going to help you do things that you really need to get done. Now, in a single player game, you're not going to use the send action very often because what you're basically doing there, you're able to send up to 3 ready characters to another church. And so basically if somebody sent me more people, they would come into my incoming slot here, and then at the beginning of the next event phase, they would become part of my church. You can also send up to 3 activities. You can also send, for example, if you're sending 3 things, you could send 2 people and 1 activity, or 2 activities and 1 person. It's whatever you'd like to do. And then finally, the recovery action is just basically where you're going to be able to recover up to 10 recovery points of characters. So if I did that, I could, with a 1 recovery action, I could recover all 3 of these characters here so that they're ready to go. The troubles phase happens after the actions phase. First of all, what's going to happen is you're going to lose 2 health for every face down trouble. So that's one of the reasons why using that discernment action is pretty important. The next thing that you'll do in the troubles phase is that you'll resolve all face up troubles. And then at the end of the troubles phase, you're going to take 1 of the face down trouble cards and add it to your church. And now you have another face down trouble that you have to account for later on in the next round. Once you get to the end of the troubles phase, you'll come right back up to the events phase, and that's basically how you play Great Commission, the strategic card game. Again, the goal being to get all of the cards from the world deck, 1 before the event deck runs out, which means you've got 7 rounds to get all of the cards out of this and make sure that your church doesn't go down to 0 hit points. So that's about that for the Great Commission strategic card game. This one kind of took me by surprise. It wasn't on my radar at all. The designers reached out and, knowing that I'm a Christian, decided that they would want to show me how to play their game, basically. Playing it on Tabletop Simulator was a really fun time. We played it a couple of times in one session, and I really enjoyed everything about the game. I was also interested in the artwork. It's not the kind of artwork that I'm really always drawn to, but part of the conversation revealed that he also has a kind of a graphic novel style series of books where it's word for word the Bible, and that's the name of their company, Word for Word Bible Comics. And that's what they do. They use the NIV version of the Bible, and that's the text of the graphic novel, and then he does all of the storyboard artwork for what's going on in the chapter. So they have this for multiple books of the Bible, and I was kind of blown away. And so I kind of went hard down this rabbit hole for a little bit. I backed a lot of their comic books, and then I also backed this game as well. One thing I do want to mention is that the playmat that I was showing in this video was an add-on for the Kickstarter. It's not something that comes with the base game, so I do want to mention that. I know I put a graphic on the screen, but I just want to re-mention that because it doesn't come with the base of the game, but it does help me with the layout of the game, and it helps you visualize how the game is played and how things work. That's why I decided to use it. I was waffling on whether or not to use it, but I decided to just make it more of a aesthetic presentation than just using the base game. So I apologize, or I don't apologize, whatever you need. But generally speaking, I went deep dived on this one, and I'm really not experiencing any sticker shock or any remorse whatsoever. I really enjoy this game. I've played this game already twice since I've received it, and I only received it a few days ago. So I feel like I've just reached the tip of the iceberg in this game with all of the different combinations that are there. What would be the best thing to do in certain situations with certain characters? The number of characters that you're going to have is going to be different, or not the number, the kind of characters and the abilities that they have are going to be different every time you play this game. And I really enjoy games that do that. It takes you down the same path, but how you have to traverse that path in order to come out on the winning side is different, and the combination is different. I really enjoy games that do that, and this one really kind of knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. I will say that this is a theme that might not appeal to you, and I'm not saying that at all. It really appealed to me, and we'll talk about more about why it appealed to me in my pros and cons, so let's get to that. Now, right off the bat, my first pro, it's going to sound a little strange because the negative aspect of this game is my first pro, and that is the trouble deck. The reason it's such a huge pro from me is because it simulates so well the struggles that each of us have as members of a church, because we bring all of our baggage with us. And a lot of people look at churches as being kind of everybody's perfect and everybody is got all their stuff together and got their act together and everybody is just knocking it home with life. And I can't express enough how false that is, because we all have problems, we all have trouble, we all have issues, and we bring those to the church. And part of the thing of being a church is helping each other work through those different things. And the trouble deck so soundly exemplifies what that feels like. Now, it's just a card game. I'm not trying to read too much into this, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. A couple of aspects of it. When you have new members come into your church, they're going to bring new troubles with them. You're going to be able to commission the people in your church to discern what those troubles are. You're going to also be able to commission members of your church to intercede for and pray for those things. It's such a thematic draw for this game, and it feels weird making the negative agent in the game a pro, but it does such a good job of it, and it's so thematically tied in. I could not help but add this as a pro. Secondarily, another thing that I really enjoyed about this game is that every single character has a special talent that they can use for the betterment of the church and the people in the church. And I really like that, because there's been a lot of times where I felt like I don't have anything to add to this situation. I don't have anything that I can do to help out this situation, but there's always something you can do. And I loved that each of the different members in the church, in your church, have something that they can contribute to the betterment of the church. I really enjoy that. Whether it's going along on an outreach mission, or helping out discern what the trouble is, or using their special talent for people that are being commissioned to do those things. I really enjoy that diversity of being able to help out. It's not just one way or the highway. It's everybody has something that they can do. Everybody has something that they can contribute. And I loved how they worked that into this game so well. My third pro for this game is another mechanism, and it's the prayer mechanism. And I love the fact that it's here, because often when you lose, when you're thinking back, you're going to think to yourself, I should have just prayed more. And there's so much truth to that. And many games that are in the Christian genre of board games, they have some type of mechanism in there where you've got to pray. And usually praying gets you a lot of really good stuff. And that's how prayer is in real life too. And I just really enjoyed the aspect of getting those blessings, being able to improve the health of your church through prayer. It's super thematic, and it super does work in exactly that way. The times that I've lost, which is all of them at this point, is I've usually gone back and said, I should have prayed more. But it's one of those things where it's such a central and easily overlooked mechanism. So I'd encourage you not to overlook it, but I loved the mechanism of prayer. Another pro for me are the leaders. Now, generally speaking, you're going to start, and most of the time you're going to have just one leader, but you are, through other kinds of cards that can be played, you are able to get more than one leader up there. And it's really cool to do that, because leaders will recover on their own, at least one 90-degree click. And you don't have to spend any recovery on them. That's a cool thing. Additionally, leaders are pretty powerful as far as the talents that they offer. Some of them allow you to add a fourth member to one of the actions that you can normally only have 3 members going on. Others allow you to do certain things for free, like you could be able to discern some troubles for free every round. There's a lot of different things. That's one thing I didn't talk about, is that the location that you're going to be at also usually has some type of special ability that you're able to utilize during the course of your round. So keep that in mind as well. But the leaders here are really powerful and they're very useful, but they're also under the gun, if I can put it that way, because many of the leaders, many of the event cards are going to target them, as well as other members of the church, but some of the trouble cards are also going to be targeting them as well. So it's just one of those things where leaders are really cool to have, but they're also targeted well, so you have to protect your leader sometimes. And that's a cool thing as well, but I really did enjoy the fact that the leaders were powerful, but you also didn't have to spend any of your church's recovery to keep them going, because they're already kind of keeping themselves going with serving. So I really enjoyed the leader mechanism. I really enjoyed also the simplicity of all of the actions. How you did many of these different actions were only different in what characteristic trait you were using for that action. So, for an outreach action, you're using faith and you're able to send up to 3 people. For a discernment action, you're using wisdom and you're able to send up to 3 people. For an intercession, you're going to be using either wisdom or faith, and you're only able to send 3 people. For prayer, you're able to send up to 3 people. The simplicity that's there is what's really kind of the glue that holds everything together. It seems like it could be a little bit overbearing at first, but it really isn't, because you notice really fast that you're basically doing kind of the same things, but they're having different effects based on the kind of action that you're having out there. There's a streamlined number of actions that's here, and how you incorporate each of those different actions is very similar as well. So there's a lot of cohesiveness as they have presented them. So I really did enjoy that. And finally, I already kind of touched on this because I told you I deep dived on the Bible comics as well. I did really enjoy the artwork here. It's not, and forgive me, but it's not, my favorite artist. It's not Vincent Dutrait. It's not any of those people. It's not any of that. It's not refined, but it's researched. I know that from reading through some of the Bible comic series, because Simon has added into a lot of those books some of the research notes that he's used as he's been figuring out how he's going to be drawing these things, and there's a lot of details that are packed into them. So while it's not an awesome artwork, it's an accurate kind of artwork, and that's really kind of what made it real for me, I guess. But I really did enjoy it. Good cardstock, linen finished cards, good artwork, good graphic design. They're not too busy. They're very aesthetically pleasing. So everything really fit well in this artwork/components pro. And with all that being said, I really don't have anything bad to say about the game. I've really kind of been sitting here for the last few seconds trying to think of something, some kind of con, something that I can draw upon that, and I can't think of anything right now. There just isn't. I mean, setup is easy, teardown is easy, play is easy. It's thematic, it's aesthetic. I just don't have a con. So as far as a rating is concerned on this one, I'm going to give it a very strong 8 out of 10. And the reason I'm giving it an 8 out of 10, and okay, first of all, the reason it's not higher is because I don't want to overstate, because I really enjoyed this game because I have a strong connection to the theme. I have a strong connection to the artwork. There's a lot of really strong positive connections for me in this game. So I don't want to overstate it, because so I'm just going to say it's a really strong 8 out of 10. And I think that, for me, speaks a lot, because a game that I'm going to keep on my shelf, a game that I'm going to not get rid of anytime soon or even in the foreseeable future, is a game that's going to be an 8 or higher. And that's definitely what this game is. I really enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with a lot of my other brothers and sisters in Christ here in my community, because I think they're going to love it. And I just hope that they do, because even even if they don't, doesn't matter at all to me. I'm going to keep loving it. I'm not really that much of a huge card game player, but this one really kind of hits a sweet spot for me, in that it has simple mechanisms. It doesn't have a lot of iconography. It does have some, but it's all rather intuitive, and it doesn't have too much iconography, and you don't have to learn a brand new 3-page glossary in order to understand how to play the game. Everything is simple, it's streamlined, and it's fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. So that's an 8 out of 10 from me. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.